Welcome back, family. There's so much to talk about in this crazy world that we're living in. And all I have to say, my first thought, and this is a freestyle for a few minutes because as you can see, we've been putting out a lot of work. But it seems as though we're living in a bizarro world. For those who read comic books way back in the day, that was a world that had similarities to the reality that we know, but everything had a strange twist to it. It was weird, it was ghoulish, it was bizarre. And right now, the reality that I know to be true seems to have shifted into some type of bizarro world. Well, what do I mean by that? It seems as though there's a fog over us. It seems as though the bright neon lights that are flashing in our face have hypnotized us. Maybe that's it, maybe it's not. I'm just joking, but you never know the effect. I mean, there used to be, what's the cartoon from back in the day, where they would have it was a Japanese cartoon that would have these flashing lights on the television screen, colorful, and it would set off seizures in people. I'm not saying that's just it. I'm just saying the accumulation of all of the social media falsehoods, the escapism that we indulge in because we see out of our spiritual peripherals what's happening, the cloud that's coming over us. We've put ourselves and allowed ourselves to fall into this la-la land, this world that is a substitute for the world that it is, where we have power to change so many factors, but we just let go of the wheel. And what do I mean by let go of the wheel? Well, whenever you're driving down the street and you see a car running the light about to hit you, you have two types of people, right? The first type is a type that sees that there's an accident and just doesn't want anything to do with it. They're frightened, they're scared, and their reaction is to let go of the wheel and cover their eyes, as though covering their eyes is going to make them not see what's going to happen to them. And then you have the other type of person, the person that holds on to the wheel, the person that looks at the car coming, even though it doesn't want to see what's going to happen to ruin its car and to ruin possibly the lives of those in the car. And they make an assessment in a split second to turn a certain way or maneuver the car a certain way so that the impact is not maximum, but it's minimized. So most people in this world, from what I'm seeing, they're letting go of the wheel. They're letting go of the wheel so they can drink more and become more of an alcoholic. They're letting go of the wheel so they can go and gamble more and focus on something that's not really going to help them. They're letting go of the wheel with their porn addictions. They're letting go of the wheel with their drug abuse. They're letting go of the wheel with being irresponsible and not caring to show up to work on time. They're letting go of the wheel in so many different ways. They're not up to the standards that they speak out to the world when they say that they're a pastor. They're giving in to the lusts of the flesh when they see that young lady that comes in new to the church and looks up to the pastor with a little twinkle in her eye. The politicians who are supposed to be there to serve the people, they're only in it for what they can get out of it themselves. Everybody in every single category of life, it seems as though people are stripping away from everyone else for themselves, not realizing that if they saw half of the boat that they're in to get away from the rest of the people on the boat, they're going to actually have water come in and sink them. United we stand, divided we fall. But it seems as though everybody wants to be divided now. And it may seem like an advantage for a short period of time, but long term, no, it's not going to happen that way. When you look at the black community, who could unify? And that's the answer to everything literally overnight. We're arguing over politics. We're arguing over things that are presented to us as an illusion. And now the powers that be don't care if we realize it's an illusion. They're going to sit there and do what they want to do anyway. The shadow government behind everything, they're going to have their way. We don't realize that we are on the brink of several wars, many of which we cannot win. The US dollar is on the brink of collapse. But we don't understand that, how our lives can be impacted if we have another shutdown or the grid going down. People don't understand what can happen, and they're not prepared for it. I'm not here to be a doomsayer, because I knew long ago that whatever I say, nobody's going to really listen to, just a few. And there are others like me who see things so clear. And yes, I've been off in the past sometimes, but I'm always striving to absorb truth. And many people, if the grid goes down and the banks close down, you're waiting for your pension check to hit the bank. But what if there is no pension check? What if there's no money to transfer? Everything is digital now. When you go to a bank, they don't have millions of dollars in the vault. It's just digital money. And if there's no electricity, there's no light, there's no nothing, well, who's going to get paid? Are the supermarkets going to be full when there are no truckers to bring it into the bigger cities? What are you going to do to eat? So we have become so comfortable in today's world and so complacent. It used to be where a man, and I'm putting it on the men, a man was there to secure his family. A man was there to go out and provide for his family. And I'm talking about long before we can sit behind in our cubicles, comfortable at a job, stroking a keyboard and making phone calls. A real man had to go out and get firewood. A real man had to go out there and kill the animals. The real man had to go out and protect the family. Do we have real men? Of course, society may not be that way anymore with those demands, but the mentality has to be the same. See? We still have to have that roll your sleeves up, put your boots on, and let's get our hands dirty mentality again. Who are the pioneers now? Who are the people who are going above and beyond to secure their family? Where they see that they have to go into uncomfortable, uncharted waters and lands to have peace and to create a new settlement. Who's doing that? We're just sinking ourselves down and what the powers that be put out there as an intoxicant to keep us from seeing what's really there while we play pretend. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, X, formerly Twitter. We just look at the videos and scroll through, and we feel comfortable at the time, not realizing the storm that's looming over our heads. Gold chains. See, many of us wear gold chains and don't realize that those chains are shackles. And it's going to be too late when you realize that those pretty gold chains that you wear around your ankles and symbolically around your wrists and around your neck are there to enslave you. And you think those gold chains belong to you, but they don't. Those gold chains are put there in place to keep you complacent because we love pretty shiny things. And we feel as though we're part of the system, but we're not. And the elites and the powers that be, they're making their underground bunkers. They're creating their safe spaces for their families silently and covertly. While we're caught up in consumerism and getting our hair done and buying the newest car, what are these things going to do to secure you when it all comes down, when the bottom drops out? We're in La La Land, all right. We might as well be high on some type of substance because the way we're walking around and refusing to see reality for what it is, we might as well. We're done. And I'm speaking to those in America. Most of you in America, black people in America, are fried and done. It's just a matter of time before you realize it because of the way that you think and the lack of unity that we have. We argue over petty things. We argue if we're FBA or ADOS or indigenous when we have to understand that worldwide we have a common enemy while we roll around in the dirt with an identity issue, not understanding that all melanated people are targeted. Why? Why are we like this? Why do we do this? Why? And we're all on a sinking ship. So the minute we realize we need to unify, which this is all I've been talking about. You have popular social media entities that have their organizations and you throw off on the other ones, right? Is that about unity? If it's not about unity, It's about our death. And you are an agent when you have these groups that want to throw off on somebody else in another part of the world, in the Caribbean and Africa. You're not about unity. It's going to take all hands on deck. When the cataclysmic events begin to happen, rapid fire, one after the other, like dominoes falling after you line them up on a windy day. What are you going to do? I don't know, but I know what I've been doing. And I had to break out and do what I had to do. I got tired of sitting around, close friends, telling them, okay, you know, Lance is crazy. He done lost his mind. But when things drop out, who's going to lose their mind? And it's going to hurt me. It's going to bother me. That those gold chains that you wear, that you think are a gift, that you think are an advantage, and you turn your nose up because you work in a nice office building, you have a nice big house and a nice car and a salary, when all that's snatched away and your stomach is rumbling for food right then and there, and you're cold and don't have anywhere to sleep, what you going to do then? From where I stand, I'm sad for what I see coming down the pike. And as you argue over who should go into the White House, we should not be arguing amongst ourselves, and we should be coming together. Because anybody who is in politics, they really don't care about you at all. But all we have to see is somebody say they like macaroni and cheese and pig feet and collard greens and hey girl this and hey girl that. Nobody wants to do anything for us. So what does that tell you? That we must do for self.
Lancescurv.com. Bold, raw, and uncut.
So, my friend, take it for what it's worth. Your heaven and your hell is right here on this earth.